How will remote work evolve in the future?
Well, COVID really obviously pushed this quick. One of the first big investments that I made during COVID, where I had literally a 5x return in a very short amount of time, was in Zoom. You'd be able to connect the dots, going back to the original question that was before this one about seeing something and moving ahead of it, making a decision based on logic of what's going to happen. That's a pivot. That's an adaptation. That's a movement of something, right? But remote work was one of the decisions that I sort of made a jump on. Quickly got out of that position when I could see sort of what I thought was the peak, buy low, sell high, right? You never really know how far you're going to go in that decision-making process, the right way or even the wrong way, by the way. You can never time the market, but you're trying to make calculated strategic risk with everything. But remote work was one of the strategic thoughts that I put out into everything that I do, right? You got to think, I'm in market like Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. It's my home base. I knew during COVID that sort of the remote work culture was going to blow up this market. It was undeniable as these cities were just struggling. They were scared. The politics of these cities was disastrous. Remote work opened up a whole new possibilities for a place like Coeur d'Alene where the quality of living is amazing. There's no crime, amazing people. Of course, people were going to try to move their families to markets like this. And guess what? Markets like Bozeman, Montana, Yellowstone, right? That show really blew that market, but didn't it? But no, it was more than just that. People watch this show, right? And then there's a reason to move and they do it. And they pick markets like that. Coeur d'Alene, number one city in America on the cover of Wall Street Journal during COVID. You look at cities like Kalispell, Whitefish, these safe towns that had quality living, 4 perfect seasons, beautiful summers. These families that could bring remote work to that reality of where they were in Seattle, why would I stay here? Look at the indoctrination that's happening. Look at everything that's happening to my children. Look how unsafe it is. Look at the supply chain. Cities are burning in those years. We have amnesia. We forget really quick what it was like, but we also forget how delicate the supply chain is. You want to put yourself in a position to win, then make sure your home base is in a place where if hits the fan, you can still control your own economy, even in that situation. Hard to do that in the middle of an urban jungle. You understand what I'm saying? So you got to understand the remote work, my connection to that simple question you have. See how complex and deep I put into that thought? All the things, the stock, the money I can make off of that thought, like where I want to position myself, where I want to have equities in the ground. And that is why we did so well during COVID, is because we had so much investment in the dirt that it jacked up the prices of everything with all this sort of demand coming to this market. And remember, supply and demand and everything, right? So just consider that. I don't even know if that was sort of the heart of your question, but I wanted to say you just triggered one thought in me, and I wanted to sort of expand my mind on to how complex my mind will think about a core topic like remote work. But at the end of the day, like while some industries are going to probably return to traditional spaces, to answer your question now, okay, the flexibility and efficiency of remote work, I think it's here to stay at large. It's probably not the best situation for companies, but it has become so ingrained in society that I think companies are really going to figure out how to sort of innovate around it. But many of them are trying to bring it back. But at the end of the day, like that tone has been set, that feeling, that emotion's been set. It's out there now. And really, I found that I could probably cut a lot of my overhead with a lot of key jobs by, going to a remote work environment. And that includes like knowing the fact that in one of my companies alone, we have now over 60 VAs that are outside of America that bring the cost of bringing valuable services to my customers down by half the price of what it would cost me to employ here. Like, it opened up a door of possibilities for me with one of my businesses, and now I rely on it solely. And the job is just as good and just as efficient. But when you're a business, your job, your fiduciary job is to survive and give your products and your services a competitive edge against big market business. And you've got to tie into these resources or you'll fail and die. It just won't survive. But remote work really opened up my mind to several different possibilities on many different fronts. And I hope that answer really opened up people's minds to the reality of how something as simple as 2 words can create so many diverse thoughts, including where I sink a dollar.